Hello everyone, welcome to the first edition of the Taplow Tips. And what we have today is a very exciting session, a quick take 5 with Mr. Gautam Sinha. I'm so excited that he is here because he's one of the pioneers of technology in India. And of course, the fact that he set up Times Internet and as an architect, being an architect in terms of setting it up from the foundation onwards, and which you, as we all know, has done tremendously well. And Gautam is passionate about technology, the products, and created an organization which is not just innovative, but also strong foundation of new technology in India. So I have Gautam with us. And Gautam, one more thing I want to say before we get Gautam there, is the fact that Gautam is worked with Dr. Abdul Kalam in the beginning of his career in DRDO. And there again is, I think, not just in terms of style, but in substance, Gautam is very much like Dr. Abdul Kalam. And I think maybe the era is different, but the style is the same. So thank you, Gautam, for being there.
Thank you, Sunandan, for a very generous introduction.
I just thought we'll start with perhaps the most obvious question of the day today. And that is, given what's happened with the Zomato IPO, what's your take on technology industry in India? Where do you think it will go from here?
I think it's the most exciting time. Though I've been saying it for the last 10 years, it's actually 10x of what it was 10 years ago. Wow. In terms of being an entrepreneur at this point in time. Today, if you look, people are solving large-scale problems, and a lot of entrepreneurs have already entered the field across multiple disciplines. I see that phenomena to grow 10x and close to 20 plus unicorns in the next 2 years, coming out of India, which I think is a great boost.
Fantastic.
For the entrepreneurs in the ecosystem.
Fantastic. Tell me, the other thing I'm very curious to know, Gautam, is the fact that, you stay in the other side of the world, which is in the Bay Area and in SFO. And you see in India, you got your office here. How do you see this whole work equation change in terms of working from home, working from office? Where do you see it? Where do you think it will go from here, in India especially?
I think it's a global phenomenon. So India is definitely a part of it, and to a large extent it's consistent across geographies. The primary shift is how many hours have you worked to what have you got done.
Right.
And the moment you change the question to what have you got done, it moves towards a more effective, efficient organization in terms of what you're trying to do. And I don't see a difference between India or US for that matter. And people are gradually taking that approach. This is what you need to get done. Please get done.
But then, given the pandemic, obviously this has implication with the pandemic being there for the last year and a half. But what do you think would have to change from a culture point of view? Organization's culture, do you think it will change in the future, or they can remain the way it was in the past?
See, good old days were the days of time cards.
Right.
You would have to punch the time, and you were measured based on the cards that you punched in. And many industries still follow that. I think that was essentially a behavior of distrust between the employer and the employee.
True.
I don't know what you have to do. I just know that you have to be here for 8 hours for me to give you the pay. That's the fundamental change that's likely to happen in the new ecosystem. Is I trust you. This is why I'm giving you this task. Please get it done. So your evaluation is in what you get done, not on how many hours you're sitting in front of your boss, on that matter. That extends to a culture of meritocracy, a culture of transparency, because both goes hand in hand.
Yep.
And mutual trust between the employer and the employee is going to grow by leaps and bounds in the new.
Yeah. Gautam, the other thing I wanted to ask you was the fact that a lot of people look up to you, and I Do you think the role of the CEO will change as well, given what has happened in a year and a half?
The role of CEO has actually been changing over the years. It has its shades between geographies, and I think you will see a very dictatorial CEO to a very service-oriented CEO. You will have various shades of that in geographies because that's the culture that has come to evolve in that particular geography or that particular industry. In my view, it's the latter which is getting more prominent and more weightage. The CEO has to be a lot more with empathy, and all the qualities of a leader which are required, to walk the talk, be strategic, be a good leader. Those have to follow the leader any point in time.
And last but not the least, and I think you're the best person to ask, is what's your take about the opportunities for the technology industry in the future, especially in India?
I have been very excited about India all along.
I know.
Very excited because India is a large country and very varied problems. And each of these problems are massive in scale, cutting across industries, whether you pick biotech, biomed, education tech, food tech, the example that we discussed, agri-tech, or even in politics, can you make things transparent? Entrepreneurs can play a huge role in shaping the democracy of the country, across India. I used to jokingly say that any side you look, there's a problem that you can solve in India. This is something I used to say 12, 14 years ago. And it has not really changed. You go drive in a car, you will see so many problems with traffic, this, that. And you can pick any of these problems and say you want to solve that. You're sitting in your home, you have problems of multiple types. What is that you want to pick and solve has to be solved differently, because the way it is solved in this country will be unique to the way it has been solved in any other country. So you have to innovate, figure out the product market fit, figure out the scale of it, and then solve for it.
That's fantastic, and thank you so much. Pure words of wisdom. Thank you, Gautam.
Thank you, sir.
For your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.